So the particular program I'm offering is QPR, Question, Persuade, Refer, Suicide Prevention Training. And essentially what that does is it teaches participants how they can, first of all, identify warning signs that somebody may be thinking about suicide, how to initiate a conversation with them, to talk to them and ask them the question, are you thinking about suicide? How to persuade them to get help, and then what the resources are available for that help. There's just still so much stigma about suicide, mental health in general, but suicide in particular. That's why I think it's so important that we open up that space by sharing stories of people who have dealt with suicidal ideation or dealt with loss in their family to suicide. It's, when we start sharing those stories, people start to hear their own experiences, and it just starts to normalize the fact that, suicide, mental health conditions are just part of life's journey for some people. It just kind of puts it on that spectrum of life things that can happen to people. One of the things we do is we go over the warning signs. So sometimes it's things that we don't really pay attention to, but I think once it's on somebody's radar of understanding that, oh, this could be a sign of suicide, then that opens up that space to be more alert when they start seeing these things. And that's just so important. And then being able to learn how to just initiate that conversation. That conversation really is where the hope begins, where that person's allowed to just talk and express what they're going through. That's so critical. Particularly in today's society where we don't take a lot of time to listen. This is a space where it's just really about listening and letting somebody share what they're going through and then taking it seriously. I think UHI can help just by this, by sponsoring a QPR suicide prevention where anybody can join. I think training the staff to know how to recognize suicide, the warnings of suicide, and have the willingness to talk to a patient that's come in and maybe exhibiting some of these warning signs. There's also various risk assessments that medical facilities can engage in when they're talking with employees to just, it's like, I think the most popular one is like the Columbia risk assessment, where it's like 4 questions that can be asked of patients to kind of judge where they are in that space. And it's just so critical. It's part of a zero suicide initiative that is geared towards bringing down the numbers that we're seeing. Right now there's close to 50,000 suicide deaths each year. So it's really critical that we all get involved and know what to look for, know how to react, know how to guide somebody to help. It's not just about the medical professionals. The medical professionals need to know this information, but really just any of us need to know, because suicide can happen in any of our friend groups, family groups, faith communities. There really is no group that's immune to experiencing a suicide. So the more people who are trained to recognize the signs and how to intervene, the more we stand a chance of starting to lower those numbers.